Those are all. For show. Oh, but
got it on. Now so do you, since Grandpa's out, giving you a clue or two, man, and helped you find the way. And guess what? Grandpa is just one of the most helpful dudes on the face of this earth right now. I mean, you know, really. Generous heart and soul to a fault, man. Well, I exaggerate ever so slightly, but yet in a cunning sort of way, it's really true. Without all the braggadociousness, man. Each and every one of us are like that. Each time we meet each other, our frickin' heart melts. That's our true reality. And why does it melt? Because we see what we are and what we be and what we've been through and all of it in one moment, and we just embrace and love each other like crazy. You know, well, until we get to that point of realization, which, oh my goodness, we already are. Well, for those that ain't, you know, Grandpa's got a special program coming up. I'm going to work on it this weekend. Hopefully we'll have it done by Monday, you know. Maybe Sunday would be a good day to inaugurate that. Because Sunday is a sun day, you know, it's when we shine bright. So we're going to do this, you know, and baby, I know you're just going to love it, you know. Well, as we explained earlier, the Pope, you know, traditionally throughout all of history has sold dispensation to thieving, conniving, killing SOBs and whatever, to set them free of, you know, any punishment on the other side should they happen to pass on during the duration of their term of nastiness, you know, an incredible skullduggery and shit like that, you know. So you always had to pay the Pope off. You want to have a war, you got to pay the Pope off, etc., etc., etc. You see, Pope gives you dispensations. That's a little piece of paper that says, hey, you're cool, and a blessing to go with it. You know what I mean? Well, you know, me and my, you know, kind of contrary position to that Pope, as the very papal presidents of Mary Jane herself, given in divine masculine form here as a human being, you know. Mary Jane's right-hand man, well, I too then am authorized through the spirit of her ever-loving and gracious heart to share with you papal dispensations. And they ain't going to cost you hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars. It just depends on the severity of your program. You know, but that doesn't mean we're going to let you just go on with it the way the Pope does. You know, you go pay the Pope so you can be nasty. You pay me so you can be cool, you know, because if you get a papal dispensation, man, you're a practitioner in the art of the sacred herb of Mary Jane, a high priest, priestess of love, you know, in the rock and reality, the green leaf of Mary Jane. Yes, indeed, this sacred thing that releases your brain and lets it realize the heart again, you know. Takes a little expanding to do that. MJ's there to help you along the way. Don't you ever neglect her, because she's sad when you do, you know, and it hurts her feelings too, so be kind to Mary Jane, you know. Show respect, you know, and give her propriety in your life, man, because she's there, you know, she's your, wow, goodness gracious, salvation, man. She sets you free if you just let her be with you. So let her take you by the hand and, you know, experience a rock and roll stand, man. Understand what you've been going through. You've been living in the rock opera love for so damn long now, you kind of got used to it, didn't you? You like it. You like it a little too much, you just give it up. It's like me when, you know, the mothership of love was calling me yesterday. Beep, beep, beep. Even till midnight she was beeping at me, saying, come on home, Daddy-o. Time to get on with the medicine show. And I'm saying, mothership of love, oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, darling. I really appreciate the offer, but I can't come right now. I'm rocking too hardy down here in this reality with all of the grandchildren. You know, and I'm my own grandchild. God, I love the funky pleasure of that one, man. I tell you. You know, I love all the funky pleasures in this reality, you know. And I just want to expand and grow on them, you know. And let the other shit dissolve away. I don't want to step out of the reality and have to go get a refresher course and all that shit. That's too much like work, man. You know, I'm a hippie, happy, intelligent person pursuing infinite enlightenment. I ain't got time for that shit, you know. Mothership of love, indeed. Besides that, you know, and I remind her of this one, man. She promised us a little party down here in Crestonia, at least a planetary-wide one, but it was the seed, the essence of it, would begin with the arrival of the mothership, bringing the crew of love here to party down with us in Crestonia, right? That was the deal, right? So when she's trying to call me out, I'm trying to call her in, and I'm just reminding her, darling, you promised the party, now deliver on the goods. Don't be silly, and don't be trying to erase and eradicate my beautiful presence, and take it away from here. Shoot, I'm just not ready for teleportation in that manner just yet, I've got to, extend myself here just a little bit further, you see. And everybody here feels the same as I do, or I wouldn't be feeling that way, you know what I mean? So that's the collective motion. And that's the way it's flowing, and that's the way we're going, whether you like it or not. I don't give a good hoot who you might think you be. Mothership of love. Oh, we're just making fun of you, really. But at the same time, we're telling you, man, you promised the trick. Now let's get on with it. Let's see the shit. Don't be calling me home when there's a party going on. We ain't even got it started yet. What's the matter with you guys, man? You running that spaceship backwards or something, man? We got to get him. I'm gonna have to go to Dreamland here pretty soon. Go up there and visit those guys and. Maybe chew them out a little bit. I like doing that. It's kind of fun, You get up there and, you're all so in love. You really can't cuss anybody or nothing, I mean, that's the reality we live in there, the mothership love, And so, and love is love. I mean, that's what we're all in love. But we can still kind of harass each other in this Coyote sort of way, So I can get up there and remind them, listen, guys, you said you can, but now no. Don't ever do this to Grandpa. Don't go back on your word with Grandpa, not ever. Once you say, then you got to play, I mean, that's the way I play it most of the time, Once in a while I chicken out because sometimes you bite off more than you can chew. What the hell? I mean, it's all learning and growing, and experiential reality teaches you that, man. It gets you, it allows you to make a lot of seeming errors so that you can see the flow, and get with it, don't you? So only by stepping outside of it, If you've lived in the river all your life and you are the river, that's all you know. But if you get out there and flow a little bit into life and get to live in it and have to make that full cycle all the way back to the river, by golly, by the time you're back there in that long cycle, you really appreciate your submolecular structure and your liquidity and all of the experience you've been through to get to where you are now. It's not like just being a drop of water in the river just floating along because that's what you do. You're flowing along in a way that so appreciates the life around you. Your flow, your little tiny molecule, increases the blossoming around you by a billion-fold, maybe a quadrillion. It can't be counted. Just because you're so happy about it. Then the whole river gets happy. Then the whole land around it is happy because it's infected by the infection of the liquidity of life, which is all joined in a singular unit called the ocean. On the Mother Earth within her heart as well. Within our heart, too, the ocean lives, babies. We arose from the ocean, the Mother of Love. She brought us forward to create this experience through which we could come to understand a deeper aspect of our heart and a deeper way of life, and learn to live a little more deeply. By how? Living in a shallow little trench for a while and having to wallow around in our own muck. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? I wonder if it's true. I bet you they do. I bet that down there in the basement of the Vatican where they got all those secrets hidden away, they probably do have the farts of Jesus down there in a bag somewhere. A leather bag, they probably call it the shroud of Turden. A bag full of turdens, man. Turdens that didn't happen. These are just gaseous emissions, man. But they're sacred, don't you know? I wonder if they have a deodorizer to go along with it. Oh, baby, we can't help but poke fun at him. And so that's what this is all about, this little papal presence of Grandpa Coyote. I'll sell you a dispensation cheap, $10, man. And you get a nice shiny little piece of paper that says you're doing something good in life, and that you're all right. And then you can smoke pot anytime you want. Or eat of it, or participate in it. Go out and wallow around in the field and roll in it naked. I don't care. You're officially dispensed to be that as a spiritual practice forevermore. And don't let the law give you no shit. Just say, look, Grandpa, the Pope of Pa gave me this. I'm free now. Leave me alone. Because the papal influence is everywhere. We own all the governments and the police and shit. So don't worry about it, man. Just, feel free. Just $10, don't you see? Just 10 measly dollars. But you gotta wait till I post it up on the website, Because otherwise you'll just never get it, I mean, it's timing. It's all about timing. It's in the perfection of the heart. Any Buddhist knows this. If you're following the flow, well, you got a century or two to go. You just got to stay rigidly with it, right? Well, whoops. Now I'm picking on the Buddhists, too. See, first the Catholics, Dick Cheney and Hillary, then the Catholics, then the Buddhists, Oklahoma. Now who are we going to pick on? I don't know who's a new target now. I used to really love Nancy Reagan. She was so flat in her personality as old Ronnie got up there and did his Howdy Doody role. I mean, she just sat back there like Mrs. Howdy Doody, but somebody forgot to pull the strings, and they fixed her lips in this tiny little, not quite a smile. So she's looking a little stern at her husband. But you can feel every word he's speaking coming through her, man. She's like his familiar, man. She's like his control, I mean, that's the way the CIA sets them up, You got a robot, then you got a control, and the control has to be somebody really close to him, like a husband or a wife or a mother you can't let go of or something like that. They're real clever how they create this shit psychologically. It's funny as hell to see it in motion in humanity. In recent years I've seen this in people up close, it comes around. They try to, there's always a way to try and distract you, and if they're conscious of your presence in some way, well, it's fair game to do that in this reality. It is a video game after all we're playing in, So, but anyway, but only by going to places like that do you learn to see through such shit. Then you start to understand how it works, and you see it in motion. You see it before it gets to you. You see? You're free. They can't contain you. They can't control you. You will feel any imagined or real machinery they might project upon you that might influence you in some way or another, like a satellite that projects microwaves. They can do hypnotic stances this way. It's been done before, but it can't be done anymore because you'll feel it. Everything that comes to you now is a blessing, including a papal dispensation for just a measly donation of $10, man. I tell you what, if Jesus were here, she'd be really happy for us, and she'd be patting you all on the head for having such a sweet deal in life. You can't be more free than a papal dispensation from Grandpa Coyote. I mean, maybe we'll find a way to put a gold seal on it or something. I don't know. I don't want to get too extravagant and show off too much. But I want it to look real official, so you can get away with the ruse, whatever it is you're trying to play there, so you can smoke a little weed and have a good life. Okay? Maybe you want to heal your granddaughter. Maybe she has some kind of cancer. Those boogers are trying to fill her full of poisons to kill the poor little child with. And you'd rather see her have a few drops of MJ every day and get herself back to healthy, wouldn't you? Well, see, and that's that. I'll give you a dispensation for that for free, of course. I might even send you $10. So give me a really good sob story, baby, and oh God, who knows? It's a flow, babies. It comes in and goes out. It's all for the benefit of everybody. So it's a little $10 joke, man, but a beautiful one. And it can be accepted as a reality in a joking sort of way. You know what I mean? You probably get away with smoking pot in downtown anywhere in this world, let alone out in the boonies where, them hillbillies still don't know about that. I don't know where that is anymore, though, because the hillbillies grow pot and manufacture speed and do all kinds of crazy shit these days. Ain't nobody that ain't hip out there now, right? Whew. Well, guys, we had to get here somehow. If that's the shit it took, I guess that's the shit it took. But that shit leads to this shit, which is far better than anything they can sell us anymore. So let the drugsters and the gangsters and the CIA mind control freaks Go have a nice little holiday in Alaska for a while, you know. Maybe they need to explore Mount McKinley, you know, on LSD or something. I think that might be a good trip for them to take. Because I think that would bring them back to their heart pretty rapidly. One way or another. I think that's a gracious... I'll give them a dispensation to do that. Papal dispensation to go take some LSD. Make sure it's Owlsy stuff. Nobody else's. Get the good shit. Orange sunshine, little triangles. You know, it's a soft, sweet journey. Okay, so you get the good shit, you go to Mount McKinley, you put on some warm clothes and shit. You can have electric socks if you want shit like that. Because you gotta stay warm, man. We don't want you dying out there. We want you flying out there. You might just discover something there you never imagined, you know, out there in that frozen country that never seems to thaw out. You might just find something real there, you never know. But anyway, that's where the CIA dudes go. The rest of us get papal dispensations and party, you know. So if you're a person in need, you know, and you really need a piece of official-looking paper that says you've been given a papal dispensation by the veritable Pope of Pot himself to allow the practice of a little sacred herb with your kid who happens to be sick and dying with cancer and really needs the stuff, in the stupid state you live in won't... You know, pretty soon this will be legal and won't be necessary, but I'll still give papal dispensations just for fun. Anywho, you know, we'll print up the paper and you can show it to them. Maybe you can, maybe it'll some will, because it is, you know, based on a very functional and real organization in the 3D, you know. So, you know, maybe something really cool can come out of this. Maybe we can move some hearts in an ironic sort of way, you know. Maybe this is how we can get our campaign in Oklahoma underway. Get the Mokies to get these dispensations going on and using them so they can legally indulge in the sacred herb of Mary J. I mean, you know, shoot, why not, baby? Life's a party, isn't it? It's Free Day Friday, and what? But we got to have fun with it. It's a game, for heck's sakes, you know, and a movie too. You know, we live in. I love it. You know, now that I'm realizing more or less that we're just acting and playing, well, I can let my little kid out now, man, because it loves to act up and play, don't you? I thought so. Some of us more mischievous than others, but all of us love to act up and play. We do. We're just little kids with great hearts, and we really do love all of our little schoolmates, our little roommates here in the spaceship love we call Mother Earth. See, that's why I'm calling that spaceship back here, man. It's like, no. Enough of this idea of division and separation. It ain't happening no more. We're not on the run. We're in the sun. We're becoming the sun. We're the union of sun and earth and creation in it. Baby, that, you know, that's our reality. That's why we get to party and play. You know, we got our graduation certificate today. In a way, that's what the papal dispensation is, or maybe that's what we'll make it. You've graduated to a higher level of reality. Now you're entitled to the privileges that go with that as a spiritual practitioner in the magic arts of life. You know, something like that might be a little more elevated way to express the joke, eh? And make it a reality because somebody puts that in their hand and that consciousness goes with it, you know. Just like the divine donuts I was making there for a while. You put your energy in it, it goes along with it. It don't matter what you make it out of. You know, the intention, man, the energy in this little certificate, you know, that comes to you is kind of like a graduation certificate. It says, yep, you made it through. You have graduated from the university of reality, man. You know, now you can accept, you know, the true reality and then move on, man. This is your graduation day, and you can indulge in anything you want, including Mary J., most especially along the way. Because you're now a collegiate graduate of the highest order, man. You know, you got 17 different specialties you can mark behind your name in letters that even the Greeks can't understand. I mean, shit. How about that, huh? I mean, you know, that's fat, ain't it? That's real, ain't it? That's us living life as the true dynamic of human being that we are, you know. We don't accept that false humility. That's total bullshit. But we don't need the braggadociousness of generals and idiots to go kill people and think that's cool. There's nothing in that. That's empty too, man, all of it. You know, ask anybody that's been there, done that. And it's haunted by the torments that goes with it. It happens. But see, we're straightening all that out. You know, we don't have to be inelegant about it anymore. We just got to be funny. Just remember that, you know, anytime your life's getting you down, just remember there's a sack of sacred farts hanging out over there in the basement of the Vatican in Rome, and you'll start to remember what life is really all about. And there won't be any essential source of discreation in your life anymore. Here's to you, babies, with my official Coyote Club mug. Get on over to the Coyote Club every now and then. Check us out. Coyotes with a K, clubs with a K. TheCoyoteClub.com or TheCoyoteClub.com if you're from down south. Oh, no, if you're down south, it's I'm sorry. Anyway, when you have a moment, it's kind of fun. And I really will doll it up. Something really good and decadent is going to come out of this. So by Monday, I think I'll have it up there. So, isn't it beautiful to be a presence be in the presence of divine revealing? Isn't it fun? I mean, you know, and you see how the flow works. You see how creation understands itself and creates from a very humorous standpoint the reality of which we live and various elements in it, including a grandpa called Coyote, Pedro Coyote, who just happens to be hanging out here on this Coyote Medicine Show Monday through Friday on the Hazy Radio Network. Don't you know, the biggest heart you ever found, except for that one inside of your hide. Now you get the rocket ship ride, babies. We love you, silly. You funny little hillbilly. Oh, baby, speaking about rulers, man. Wow, here's another exciting news flash from the Coyote News Netrock, babies. The net rockinest news you ever found, the happiest little sound around town right now, man, coming from the singing the song of your heart right there inside your hide, baby. What a beautiful ride we take. Yes, indeed. Man, in this little hiney we shake. And, you know, spiritual aspiration of expectation of the grandest love possible in this reality. Wow, does it get much better than that? And how? So here's the inside scoop, which you probably already know, but the real rulers of the earth are those that control the flow. Those that live in the flow and know the flow and pass it into creation consciously. Or to some degree, these are the true rulers of the earth. They determine the aspect of the whole reality, all of it, because they represent in themselves the heart of the collective. And then of the collective heart, our own heart's wish, then they are made. Their activities are engaged in this reality as the rulers of the earth. And rulers, remember, are these things, you know, there used to be this board that had measurements on it, 1 inch, 2 inches, 1 centimeter, whatever, you know what I mean? And nowadays, you know, it's a different kind of measurements, you know. The real rulers are those who measure creation into being. And by the measure of their heart does it exist. That's rulers. That's who rules the world. That's who rules the universe. That's who rules all of life. And it's a natural flow. And it's born of the maternal heart. The nurturing love that just can't help itself has to create. Has to resonate with life. It just doesn't know any other way. You know, the life is like so precious that it must be encouraged. And it must be assisted along the way. And always nurtured. Always made to feel comfortable in itself so it can move forward progressively without hurting itself too greatly. I think somehow we've managed to do that despite, the huge disparity here. I know Bill Hicks is kind of like a little depressing. That was his last little tome, and that's why I kind of allow it to slip in here once in a while. 'Cause it's such a poetic little epitaph to a guy that really had a rough life but could see through it all and didn't know what to do about it, just like his daddy, George Carlin, you know, and a few others, Red Skellington to mention a few before him. You know, what was his name, the little bald-headed guy that was so rude? He knew. There was a bunch of these comics that did, you know, from way back in the 30s and 20s on up through, man. I mean, this was a quiet revolution going on, and through joking ways, you know, and a bunch of smart-alecky nonsense could come an essential truth, an energy of revelation, an energy of revealing. This is the way it really is, kids. So Bill Hicks, he saw through it. His response to it wasn't always that great. You know, we all live within the limitations of our own ability to live it, you know, to be it, to respond, you know, and so we all have our own little recipe, and that's his. And I admire him for it, and I bless him for it too, man. I'm sorry he had it so rough. You know, I know how it is to see through it, not think you can do anything about it, man. It hurts, you know. It really does, and, you know, that's a circumstance a lot of people on this earth have lived with, you know, because there's a lot of gifted souls and presences from my generation on out, and then some. You know, I've met some from the previous generation, veterans of World War II, who were pretty enlightened beings, man. I tell you, you know, after that experience, it kind of bombed their whole personality. It took them a while to recover, but when they came back, if they came back, not a lot did, but some bright lights did, and when they did, their view of all of that stuff was quite different than it was when they lived it as kids, crammed away in some tiny I don't even want to talk about tiny submarines. Ooh. Anyway, wow, there's gracious angels everywhere, you know, and all this harsh experience has led nothing but to the light, to the embracing of the true lightness in life, you know, the giving up of all of this heaviness, letting go of the seemingly cruel darkness, and just seeing it for what it is, a mischievous little energy inside. It's the color, it's what gives contrast to the color, it's, you know, the poetry, the symmetry in life. You know, it's a part of the synchronicity. It's a happy little child now if you allow it to be. You just have to cloud through the cloudiness of your own darkness. Plow through, because you can see light. And when you can see light, you can be drawn to it, and you can enhance its presence to the point where now we're in more of a state of union, where inside of ourselves we live together with all of this energy. It's just a heart in motion. And there's the different aspects of it, and that's what makes it colorful, the aspects of our personal personality, you know. And now it's learning how to function and manage itself as a blend, you know. So, I mean, you know how some blends are just perfect. Some stuff just isn't right without a blend, you know what I mean? Like lemon juice, stuff like that. The blend, boy, when it's just right, you know, everything is just so harmonious, you know. It's like a mint julep made out of the very essence of love and life itself. It's the sweetest intoxicant you could ever participate in. The most refreshing, too, you know. It's just a perfect blend. Yeah. And that's just where we begin. You see. From there, the rainbow arises and becomes creation yet again, man. And we just, wow, we're blossoming all of it down to a real personal experience for every element in it, because we could inhabit the personal experience for a while and, wow, be torn apart and thrown back together by it, man. It's a cosmic dream and a beautiful one, you know. And, man, we have fulfilled our presence in it. God, and it's such a gorgeous day today. We have fulfilled our presence in it, and that's why it's a gorgeous day today. Every day is gorgeous. Every moment is filled with life, loving itself into being, man, and propelling itself into all kinds of strange and unusual situations in order to recommit itself at the bottom line to its heart forevermore, the unified heart. It's practiced the divisionary sort of way. It worked to a certain extent, you know, but it's really impractical. So, you know, the emergence is to realize it all together. As what? A life being lived. And all of it. It's just like starting to feel within the presence of your body the energy of truth. That you are an enlightened being. What that means is, not that you're fat with understanding, but that you're filled with an appreciative light that knows the love and the activity of every little element of itself, can feel it. For real, from your toes on up, man. Clear to the tippy-toppy of your little crowned cap. Through your fingers and toes and everything that grows. In all of you, you see, that's called mystical union. When you can feel, and you are feeling, that presence within yourself, you know, in these cells and atoms, these dancing little particles of life that are so happy to be these dancing little particles, because they, as a formation of a part of you, are a reflection of the initial particle of all. The one little particle from which all particles arise and form themselves as the particular beings they might particular be in that particle's shape. I love it. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. I got that one down. Lots of poetry going round and round. And you feel in your heart what's real, you know. See, it really starts at the center heart outward, you know, and comes from there. It's a blossoming thing, you know. So, you know, you might still feel somewhat restrained in the heart. You know, there's still a lot of grief to let go of, but at the same time, it's over with. You've seen it already, and you've been in the union, so don't backtrack on us now. See, that's the sentiment. That's the part of us that so loves the endurance that it can't help but want to continue it, you know. And so understand this, and here's how you can release yourself from it. This kind of life, with a few slight modifications, can be relived at any time. All of this experience exists in kind of a vault. Not a cold, dark thing, but a storage place where glittering, glowing lives can be lived. In any aspect or any moment, you know, if you want to float over there and go see that and see what that was like, you can do it as an observer or in a more full extent as a participant, etc. You can feel the exact same experience as did the resident beings who performed that particular activity. So in other words, there's nothing of this life that isn't left back there that you can't go back and see anytime you want and be in it if you have to. You know, there is no experience beyond our comprehension now. We're without limitation or restriction as a human being, as a creative human being, an aspect of the divine feminine heart that gives life to everything. The mother love, the Gaia of life, which means the golden heart of life. The mother and son are one, S-U-N. See, this is the misinterpreted theology, let's call it, that so many, you know, have taken to be as a separate and isolated thing from themselves, and when the reality is that all of those beings existed in those ways to show us how it's done. Not to do anything more than to set an example and say, kids, you know, look at me. I'm an idiot and I'm a rock star and I can do this. You can too. That's the message of all of them, you know. And of course, you know, we make them hallowed and holy beings and make them into our Savior and enslave ourselves to their heart and all that shit. I guess that's a noble thing to do when you're retarded and you don't know any better, but you do now. And how? See, that person and that person and that person, all these precious beings that have helped us hold it together throughout all these ages of humanity, sometimes at great anguish within, you know, a great sacrifice, price, whatever. But understand, too, that if there is a sacrifice, it's given in love, and that every human being does that. These people are not so exceptional in their sacrificial ways. Everybody sacrifices their life for somebody or something in some way. In the old reality. Now in the new paradigm, of course, we don't got to play that way anymore, but we're in that transitional phase now. You know, where the rock becomes the roll becomes the heart, and the heart becomes the soul becomes the presence of creation in your personal bodily experience. And everything transforms and changes, you know. To some it's like being drawn backwards in time. You know, and then it's watching all of the lives in the universe collapse in and around you as you're being drawn backwards in time. You're in this great big easy chair. It's kind of like the golden throne, only it's also like a jet chair, only it goes backwards. And as you're going backwards through time in an accelerated way, I mean, this is one of those jet chairs, man, like they used to test the ability to hold G-forces in the human body out there on the Nevada desert. I'm sure you've seen those race rails before. It's like that, only in reverse. And as we're reversing, all of the time and space configuration is collapsing in and around us, you know, because we're reversing the flow of all time in one moment. And we're going right back to where that ride begins, where that jet car begins itself, you know. That's the place of the beginning. That's where we are always. That's where old Mary Jane will help you get to, too. Forgive me, I backed off from the microphone a bit too far there, giving myself a demonstration. I forget you can't see this stuff. You know, because I'm living it as I'm talking about it, you see. So, wow, babies, I know you are too, man. See, that's the synchronistic flow. This is how we know it's real, because we can live it simultaneously, as Grandpa describes it, to a certain extent, and conveys the energy of it too. Because it comes from you into me, back to you, etc. We're creatively together in all this activity. All of it. The interplay between us is phenomenal. The orchestration created by that interplay, out of this world, man. We're really gifted angels. We really do pretty good at this orchestration shit. We really do, man. You know, our hearts, in perfect unison. We just got to allow it to be. Allow ourselves to see it, you know. Set the old paradigm free. Be done with that shit. Again, if you really got to hang on to it, there's a way to go back. Don't worry about it. Just move on. Don't leave anything behind you. Be right where you are. And you'll experience this. The whole thing comes undone, baby. Because you're the one. Each one is the one. The one. W-N and O-N-E too. One. You won because you're one. With everyone. All these things. All of this experience that we've been through. That we're collapsing in on now. That we're reversing the flow of and accelerating ourselves backwards through. Which is to say, expanding our conscious experience to the place where time does not exist. You know, we finally go to that beginning point, which is always. And always is and always shall be. For there is no beginning, there is no end. There's a glorious flow of life into experiential creation. Much like the flower blossoms here and the ones that grow on the top of harsh mountains, as well as proliferating across the fertile valleys and fields and farms and factories and shit. Life is everywhere abundant, even when you poison it the most greatly, it still comes back. Life is meant to be lived. This is what has proven to us its own durability, and us of our own abuse, and of the effects thereof, but of our own durability as well. It's a reflective reality, and as you understand this, then cosmically we re-experience it all in a flash, and the effect is done away with, and we're back in our Lemuria, land of the free and gracious hearts, the expansive children of creation, who graciously experience that creation flowing through themselves. I mean, it's really a calm and quiet party, a contented as all get out, yet as rocking as the whole reality can be. It's all of these moments drawn in together, a mother and son shining as one, life in creation, the tiniest particle, replicating itself everywhere, and experiencing itself particularly in that way, and everything it's formed, everything, all the experiences formed within it. You see, this is unity. This is why there's peace now across the universe. Because it's understood now. There aren't divisions. There's various forms of creation and motion, various aspects of living that all are meant to enhance and rehabilitate, for lack of a better word, bring back to the heart presence. And how? Just by going through what we're going through right now, allowing yourself to see it, allowing yourself to be it, allowing that flow not just to be your goal or your anything but your life, all of it. That's the artsy fartsy way of living it, man, you know, because that is the artiste of life, living it in the most high aspects that can ever be lived. And we're here to do that, man. You know, these little coyote clowns that we are, all of us. You know, going backwards and forwards and side to side and get bumped around by the old pinball machine while we're at it. What the hell? but beautiful beings. Present even when we're dumber than toast. Still present in that heart in some form or fashion. We got it through, babies. We pulled it off. So be ready for some effects of graduation this weekend in this sweet graduation party we're speaking of. I think we can rock and roll and celebrate something, don't you know? And pretty darn soon, I think, there's a hunger, there's a need to gather this vibe tribe, in physical presence in 3D form momentarily, so, the cosmic explosion can continue to expand itself. And besides that, some people like toasting marshmallows around a campfire and a little later on having some real chicanery when the dancing gets underway. Some people just like to play and play. I think a lot of the Vibe tribe should probably set some time aside to come over here and party, wouldn't you say? I will do it in the mystical way. Mothership love come get you now, babies. And how? But first you got to see the reality, babies. So, you can keep your eyes on the sky, but just know the contrary stuff, it blows. It really does. And so the real stuff, if contrary continues to play that role, which I think it's about done with, but if it continues to play that role, it's going to be outshone instantaneously. Same way in your life, babies. Anything that's unreal, babies, it's not going to be able to sustain its presence there any longer. It will dissolve right before your very eyes. Because you don't need it. You don't need that kind of antagonism in your life anymore. Whatever it might be, or whoever, or however, you know what I mean? Some way or another. It's resolved rather immediately, because your heart will have it. No other way. You can't tolerate an intolerable existence anymore, and you won't. Because you're too in love with life to let it be anything else. But just smooth, natural, and the greatest expansion of love it can possibly be. That's why we're living here, and that's why we can have such wild joking around about it and have such chicanery here, because it's all love, babies. It's all a product of the tree of life, and we're all the blossoms on it, man. Each and every one of us. There's power in that suggestion there. There's a truth that goes beyond comprehension of the dumbed-down human, so good thing we ain't dumb anymore, eh? Just keep expanding. Let that flow take you where you want to go, because you're already there, baby. You see that? Yeah, Free Day Friday and then some. Ooh, yeah, Freddie, take it away, baby. Ooh, gotta love this guy.
This could be heaven. This could be heaven forever. This could be heaven. This could be heaven. This could be heaven.